This is to go over some of the word problems for multiplication and division of fractions. One of the cats in the neighborhood had 6 kittens, all about the same size. Each of the kittens weighed 5½ ounces. How much would the kittens weigh all together? So we're talking about kittens in the neighborhood, and there was 6 kittens. And each one of them weighed 5½ ounces. So this is a multiplication problem. You have to put 6 over 1, and we're multiplying. You have to take their improper fraction and put to a proper. Take your proper fraction and put it in improper. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So 11 over 2. I can cross simplify. 2 and 6. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now I can multiply. 3 times 11 is 33. 1 times 1 is 1. So 33 over 1 is 33. So all the kittens together weigh 33 ounces. Number 2. Mr. Summers had 20 pieces of metal. They were all the same length. Each of the metal pieces was 3 1/5 inches long. He put them side by side. What would the total length of all the pieces be together? So we have 20 pieces, and each of them were 3 1/5, and he puts them all together. So this is another multiplication problem. 20 times 3 1/5. I have to put 20 over 1, and I'm going to multiply. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16 over 5 equals. I can cross simplify. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 divided by 20 divided by 5 is 4. 16 times 4 is 64. So this is 64 over 1, which is 64. So they were talking about inches, so it is 64 inches long. Number 3. Linda started taking piano lessons. She had practiced 1 3/4 hours each day. If after only 8 days Linda decided she wanted to stop, how many hours did she take lessons? This is another multiplication. She took 1 3/4 hours each day, and she did it for 8 days. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. 7 over 4, because this is our denominator, and then 8 over 1. I can cross simplify here. What can I divide 4 and 8 both by? I can divide them both by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 7 times 2 is 14. 1 times 1 is 1. So my answer is 14. So it was 14 hours. Number 4. For their science experiment, The class used 10.5 quarts of water. If there were 7 groups doing each experiment and each group the same amount of water, how many quarts did each group use? So the whole class used 10.5. And then there were 7 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And each group used the same amount. So each group is going to get a little bit. So I am dividing this. So this is a division problem. And they are dividing the 10.5. So number 4. 10.5 divided by 7. The first thing I'm going to do is put them into an improper fraction. 2 times 10 is 20, plus 1 is 21 over 2, times, divided by 7 over 1. Now, remember, when division, you multiply by the reciprocal. So I keep the 21 over 2, change it to multiplication, and I put 1 over 7. Now I look diagonal. What can I divide 21 and 7 both by? I can divide them both by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 21 divided by 7 is 3. So now I have 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 divided by 2, because this is an improper fraction. 2 will go into 3 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. So I have 1 and 1/2. Because I take my remainder and put it over my divisor. So that was each group will have 1 and 1/2 quarts. A bunch of neighborhood kids went on a hike through the nature center. The total mileage they walked was 16 and 2/3 miles. Each kid contributed 4 1/6 miles to the hike. How many kids went on the hike? So we have this hike that was 16 and 2/3. And each kid did a section of it. And each one of the kids did 4 1/6. So here's a kid that did 4 1/6. Here's one that did 4 1/6. Here's one that did 4 1/6. So this is a division problem. So you're taking 16 and 2/3 and divide by 4 1/6. So 16 and 2/3 divided by 4 1/6. The first thing you need to do is change it to an improper fraction. 3 times 16 is 48, plus a 3, plus a 2, is 50. So this is going to be 50 over 3. Still divide. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25 over 6. So this is a division problem. We keep our 50 over 3, change it to multiplication, and we multiply the reciprocal. 6 over 25. Now I can cross simplify. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now I can divide by both of these by 25. 25 divided by 25 is 1. 50 divided by 25 is 2. So now I can multiply. 2 times 2 is 2 times 2 was 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 over 1 equals 4. So that was 4 hikers. Number 6. Luke's mission was to pick up a new supply of Quails for the inhabitants of Pluckataria. Luke and his crew picked up 25 cases of Quails and put them aboard his ship. If the total weight of the Quails was 26 2/3 megalors, and each case of Quails weighed the same amount, how many did each case of the Quails weigh? So even if you do not know what Quails are or what megalors are, you can still solve this problem. He has 25 cases, right? And the total of this was 26 2/3. This was total. So how much does each one weigh? That means we are dividing this by 25. So our problem is 26 2/3 divided by 25. So problem 6. 26 2/3 divided by 25. 23 times 26 is 78, plus a 2 is 80. 80 over 3 times 1 over 25. Because I put it into a fraction here and then I change flip. I look diagonal. I can divide 25 by 5. And I can divide 80 by 5 and I get 16. 16 times 1 is 16. 3 times 5 is 15. This is an improper fraction. 16 divided by 15. 15 will go into 16 one time. 1 times 16 is 15. 1 times 15 is 15. So I get 1 and 15/100ths. And that was megalors. Now number 7. Larry bought 12.5 pounds of candy to share with his friends. If he gave 2.5 pounds to each friend, how many friends did he share his candy with? So he has this big bag of candy. And he gave 2.5 here, 2.5 here. So this looks like I am dividing 12.5 by 2.5. So number 7. 12.5 divided by 2.5. I need to put this into an improper fraction. 2 times 12 is 24, plus 1 is 25 over 2. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5 over 2. Plus 2 times 2 is 4, plus a 1 is 5. Now I change flip. Keep 25 over 2 times 2 over 5. I can cross simplify. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. I can divide 5 and 25 both by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. So my answer is 5. So there was 5 friends he gave his candy to. Number 8. During a rainstorm last week, Jackson and his sister wanted to see how much rain they would collect from the rain. In order to do this, they put 12 3.5 liters out. So they did 12 of these. So right there, that tells me I am multiplying 12 times 3.5. In order to do that, okay, so if all the containers filled, then they did this 4 times. So they had 3.5, 12 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They did this 4 times. So this is kind of a multi-step problem. So first you're going to multiply 12 times 3.5 and then times 4. So let's do the 12 times 3.5 first. 12 times 3.5, 12 over 1 times 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7 over 2. I can cross simplify. I have to divide both of these by 2. 2 by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2, 12 divided by 2 is 6. I gave you the answer. 6 times 7 is 42. Times 1 is 42. Now, they did this 4 times. So 42 times 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 4 is 16. So 160 ounces. Number 9. As part of her club activities, Miss Warmer brought 10 jars of preserves to sell at the club carnival. If each jar was 9.5 ounces, how many ounces will she sell? So she has these jars, and she has 10 of them, right? And each one is 9.5. 9.5, 9.5, and she does this 10 times. So this is a multiplication. So 10 times 9.5. 10 over 1 times 9 times 2 is 18 plus 1 is 19 over 2. I can cross simplify here. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. 19 times 5. 45, carry my 4. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. So 95. 95 over 1 is 95. So she has a 95 ounces. Okay, number 10, our last one. Lynn has 15 different color markers in her case. The total weight of the markers in the case is 37.5 ounces. If each felt marker is the same, how much does she have? So she has these 15 markers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. But all together, they weigh 37.5 ounces, right? How much does each one weigh? So you're taking 37.5 and you're dividing it into 15. So number 10, 37.5 ounces divided by 15. Here I have to put my mixed number into an improper. 37 times 2, 14, carry your 1, 6. 64 plus 1 is 74 plus 1 is 75 over 2. Divided by 15 over 1. I still keep the first one, 75 over 2. Change to multiply, and I flip 1 over 15. I can divide both of these by 5. 5 divided by 15 is 3. 75 divided by 5 is 15. 75 divided by 5 is 15. 15 times 1 is 15. 2 times 3 is 6. Look here. This is an improper fraction, but I still can simplify this because I could have gone better here, bigger here. I probably can divide by 15. So now let's do this. 15 divided by 6, 2 and 12. 5 minus 2 is 3. 2 and 3 is 6, which is also simplified to 2 and 1/2. So the answer is 2 1/2. That is problems 1 through 10 on the word problems from recently. There is a grade on 1 through 10, so make sure you turn it in.